Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, and here we are. We've got some of our panelists with us, from Des Fights Cancer, Chef Jen, who is just showing us some cancer-fighting foods here. We also have Chelsea Anderson, who's a professional gardener, and she's brought her worms, so we'll dig into those a little bit later.
Oh, food and worms. How can you go wrong with something like that? On this Blue Monday, who can't stop but smile? Yep. Oh, do we also have a giveaway too? Well, we'll share that with you in a second. Okay, so speaking of sharing, more trending topics. Yes. Speaking of sharing, the mayor decides, our mayor, Nenshi, has decided to share some of his salary, give back to charities. He says he gets paid way too much money, and so he gives some back. Now, a couple of people commented on this. This is from Brock. He says, a single guy, no kids, busy 24/7 with his job. What's he going to spend the money on? So why not give it away? Mind you, Jerry says, a little bit more cynical, where did his salary come from? Oh, right, the taxpayer. So basically, he's giving the taxpayers' money away to charity and getting a tax deduction for it. Precious. So, a couple of sides. Let's jump on this.
I think it's phenomenal. I mean, you don't hear that a lot, right? You don't hear people, whether or not it comes from here or there, it doesn't matter, but it is his salary, so it's up to him to give away, and I'm blown away. Political figure.
To say that we're paid too much money. Des, are you paid too much money?
I don't think so.
I don't have that problem yet, but it might be a good problem to have.
Yeah. At what point do you make too much money?
I don't know. I haven't hit that yet. I hope I'll know when I get there.
Yeah, isn't it about 180?
If I get there.
Is it 180,000? He's the highest paid mayor in Canada.
Yeah, I think his salary is just over 200,000 now.
Right.
But I mean, this man dedicates 24/7 to the city. Yeah. At least it appears.
Well, we expect him to, though.
Yeah. So
he's Calgary's hero. Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Now, we don't mean to jump on the Nathead Nenshi bandwagon, but at the same time, though, what a statement it is for a person, an individual, to do that. I mean, you're making a statement with Des Fights Cancer. All three of you are making a statement about inspiring people as well, too. This is quite a statement. Don't you think, Des?
It is, for sure. I mean, when you take that stand that you're actually going to give a portion of your salary back, now I don't know how much, whether it's 1%, whether it's 10%, whether it's 90%, but just being able to give back is a huge thing, and it again goes back to supporting the community and making sure that Calgary becomes a better place. And as the mayor, I would hope that that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah, and there's other people who do that as well too.
So do you think he sets a precedent for it to get councillors to do the same thing, or future mayors or mayors of other cities? Do you think that's going to put pressure on them to do similar things?
I don't know about pressure, but I don't know about pressure, but just when you do something yourself, you are making that statement and you are encouraging others just through your own actions. And I think that's
you warm up to the idea of too. It's put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's saying, look, you know what? If we are so, if we're a community of giving, well, who better to show that example than the mayor himself? Kind of makes sense.
And let's be honest, he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to give back, right? And he gives in so many ways. But this is special.
And he doesn't.
What makes him Calgary.
And he doesn't publicize it either, too. This was just somebody was asking him a question. It was a conversation, and he says, "Well, yes, by the way, I give some of my salary to charity." So he didn't come out right and say, "Hi, I'm the mayor. I give to charity. Why don't you?" He's not saying that, if I understand it correctly.
Well, he did start the 3 things for Calgary. So
that's true.
Sort of in a way.
Yeah, he's encouraging all of us to do something. Yeah.
So, we'll have to see. Sort of, maybe other people will follow suit, right? Also, recently, council's been talking about adding a carpool lane and a cycle track to Shaganappi Trail. I don't know how you guys are about cycling, especially in the winter, but the city planners have sort of come up with these recommendations to basically double the roadway, but not for cars, just for a carpool lane and a cycle track along that Shaganappi Trail there. What do you guys think?
I think there's a need for it. Let's do it. It makes our city just a little bit healthier. And if you've ever seen the tracks or the walkways in the morning, they're loaded with people commuting. And you can actually get from far northwest into the core in probably about, depending on how fast you go, 15 to 25 minutes. So that's excellent. Plus, we're keeping cars out of downtown. We're reducing emissions. We're supporting.
Oh, look at you, Miss Greenie. Yeah. Talk to me when it's minus 22 outside.
You're not exactly a road cyclist.
No,
just yet.
We talked about spin classes earlier today. And
there's no spin cycles on these lanes. Let's be honest here. Who carpools?
Well, With my 3 kids, absolutely.
There you go. Okay, so you and I, here we go, Chelsea. You and I are going to be in the carpool lane, and we're just going to be having some fun while these 3 are going to be sitting there going, oh, who are those people? We've been through other cities where they have carpool lanes.
Yes.
Salt Lake City is a prime example if you drive through Salt Lake City in the United States.
Vancouver's got some good
Vancouver's a great
ones.
example, too.
We've skipped tons of traffic being in the carpool lane there.
Is it about time? We need to smarten up. Is that the impression we're getting here?
Yeah.
For sure, I think so. I hate when I see one person sitting in traffic, which is me, and then
on your phone.
Yeah, and then families sitting there as well. And I think if there's more than one person in the car, you have to give them right of way and just make it faster for them, because they are helping the economy by being together in a carpool. And I'm technically not sitting in my car.
Literally driving change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's setting an example. You know, just as we talked about with the mayor, it's setting an example.
Exactly.
Okay, setting an example. Do you want to introduce this next lady? Because this is really, really cool.
What else to say? Worms. The worms are here. So welcome, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Professional gardener, Chelsea Anderson. What was it your mother who said, hey honey, I've got a great idea. Why don't we raise worms in our basement?
Well, it was. In fact, I'm ever inspired by my mom, who's also, she's a horticulturalist, so I was raised with all of this kind of, these green practices. And it actually, I was inspired one day, it was about this time of year, January, but it was about -22 outside, and I was hauling I'm so devoted to my compost pile out back, hauling it out in my big boots, dumped it on top of the ever-growing pile, right? Because in the winter it just freezes solid, it doesn't keep composting year-round. And it suddenly struck me, I'm like, oh, I need worms, because then you can bring them indoors. You have your can of worms or whatever your system is indoors, and then the worms can keep working year-round. So you have somewhere to put those scraps.
Keep them warm.
Ease your guilt, you know, over all those scraps that you produce.
Do worms, like when it gets, forgive me, I'm not a horticulturist, I don't know these things. When it gets cold, they die?
Well, not our worms that live outside. So our worms that are in our gardens, they actually go down. They dig really, really deep into levels where it's not frozen.
Warm.
And then they stay there. And they come up in spring. But the worms that I'm talking about are the red wigglers, and they are imported. These are the African red wigglers that I have, and they're imported, and so they stay indoors. And so these are inside worms.
Imported worms? Don't we have enough worms here in Calgary? We need to import them? Come on, Kate, let's find out about these worms.
Yeah. I don't know.
Bring some over here, Chelsea.
Well, first of all, I brought 2 soil samples. So one is castings and one is just my backyard garden
soil. Let's do this. Okay, so which is, in my left hand, what do I have here?
In your left hand, you have the worm castings, which are, they're not totally sifted. There's a bit of eggshell there.
Castings, other...
So castings...
It's the poop.
It's the poop.
Worm
it's
poop.
The worm poop is what you're holding.
In my other hand, I have...
You have my backyard garden soil. And so this is with added compost. This is as nutrient-rich as you can get. We're in that nice green belt.
So you're going to put this into your garden.
So the poop first, and this one next.
And then you get this.
That's right. And then you get these beautiful cancer-fighting foods. That's right. So ideally, you would add about 20% worm castings to your regular soil, and that's a perfect organic fertilizer. And it enriches the soil so much that it then enriches your plants, and then it enriches the human who gets to eat these plants. And so if we're talking about fighting cancer, these really nutrient-dense foods are perfect. So
let's bring up some of these critters.
Yes.
Come on, Kate, get in there. Oh yeah, let's see what you got there, girl.
Oh, this is my worm bin.
Oh, what?
I don't even see a worm yet.
It's called the can of worms.
Okay. Makes sense.
You have to find a nice spot. They do hide. They're a bit camera shy.
Chelsea, they're camera shy.
They do.
They
get a little bit.
So many of them.
Kate, you don't want to put it in your hand.
This is my own real life fear factor.
Oh no.
There you go. So they don't have eyes, but they do have photoreceptors.
Let's take a look at this sucker.
And so they do sense the light, and they do burrow down when you expose them to light. So they will hide. So you have to be quick with the worms.
You can definitely feel them.
You can feel them. They will squirm in your fingers, and the kids love this.
No, Kate, it's all yours.
Yeah, she's enjoying this.
So these are African worms?
African red wigglers, yeah.
Red wigglers.
Yeah, known as the Icenia petita.
They're really tiny.
They are quite small.
Them to be a little bit bigger.
Yeah, and this is a full-size worm.
And that's how big they get.
Yeah, and here's a little baby. So we have different sizes. Yes, they're quite cute. Not sexually mature yet. So worms do reproduce.
So where are we finding these worms, Chelsea?
We're finding them indoors in people's basements. This is where we're finding them.
I guess what I'm saying is, to bring them to our basement, but where are we getting them first and foremost? Can we go to a worm store?
You can. Actually,
in Calgary?
I do sell the worms myself, but I'm a little bit low right now. My but there are a few other suppliers around.
Do I put these down?
Yeah,
I don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, you can put them back in. I added some
eat
new
'em.
food this morning, some lettuce and some, so you can feed them anything you want. And so,
So
yeah,
you
you
just
can
throw
buy
your
them.
scraps in there.
They are worth quite a bit, so they're about $40 for half a pound, which is about a cup of worms. $90 for a full pound. So
Okay, so-
they're valuable.
Now, I
Sorry.
noticed when you open the lid, there's
Yeah.
actually no smell.
There's no smell.
I don't smell
Yeah,
anything.
if you wanted to smell the castings themselves,
I
so this
did
is
smell them in the break.
straight worm poop, and there's no smell. It smells like earthy. It has this really nice kind of
does.
humus
Smell?
like you're walking into a greenhouse. It's a very fresh smell. So this is one of the perks too. People often think of compost as being a smelly, rodent-infested pile in the backyard that's frozen in the winter, which is my. But these ones, they smell beautiful. There are no pest problems.
And quickly, you brought us a shirt to
yes.
give away here.
Yes, I believe in global warming.
Global warming.
Worming. What's happening in May?
In May, yeah, my mom and I, so my mom Donna Balzer, she's an avid gardener, and her and I are going to have a workshop from May 22nd and 23rd. And we'll be talking about the worms and the composting and the organic gardening, and pop-up gardens is her real thing. That's her shtick.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, so that'll be coming up.
Good. Thanks for bringing in the worms.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah,
My
that's-
pleasure.
Great.
Good for you. I give you credit, Kate. That's pretty intense. Good for you. Worms.
It wasn't that intense. But let's not make it sound too extreme here.